Hertz Road to Paradise is sponsored by the law firm of Goldstein, Buckley, Seckman, Rice & Pertz, online at justicestartsnow.com, your personal injury attorneys since 1962. Shula's Steakhouse, themed after the 1972 Miami Dolphins' perfect season. Shula's America's Steakhouse, still undefeated, located in the Hilton, Naples. Clive Daniel Home, the destination for everything for the home, locally owned by proud supporters of WGCU for over 25 years, on the web at clivedanielhome.com. FineMark National Bank and Trust, providing banking, trust, and investment services at offices in Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, and Naples, online at finemarkbank.com. John R. Wood Properties, marketing thousands of homes each year since 1958, online at johnrwood.com. And by Preferred Travel of Naples. Information on luxury cruises, vacations, and journeys of a lifetime is available at preferrednaples.com, creating timeless travel memories.
For many, the road to paradise leads to Southwest Florida for its world-class beaches, outdoor lifestyle, and unspoiled natural beauty. Lately, Southwest Florida has been busy paving another kind of road to paradise. It's one driven by low corporate taxes and financial incentives, creating a favorable climate for business. Really big business.
We begin with breaking news this morning at 10. A big announcement, that mystery Fortune 500 company coming to Lee County.
We've been able to confirm that it is the car company, the rental company Hertz. Officials with Hertz, alongside Governor Rick Scott, will make their announcement at 11:30 this morning.
Hertz Corporation will locate its worldwide headquarters to Estero right here in Lee County from Park Ridge, New Jersey. So congratulations to everybody.
After 8 months of rumor and conjecture, the Hertz Corporation made headlines in May of 2013. When former CEO Mark Frisora announced Southwest Florida as the new home for its global headquarters.
So joining us right now in the studio to tell us more about this deal, what it means for Southwest Florida's economy, is Terry Everly from our partners at the News Press. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've got a special section this morning all about this deal right on the front of your paper, and sort of got the inside scoop from the governor's office and Hertz. This is a big deal.
It was like we had to break it in print. Now, we haven't broken news in print in quite a while.
And it was big news. The world's largest car rental company and a decades-old brand immediately put this region in the national spotlight. It also made it the envy of bigger metro areas in the Sunshine State. Will the corporate giant's move be just the blueprint needed for more companies to choose Southwest Florida for their business paradise? Number 264 on the Fortune 500 list, the Hertz Corporation is the world's largest airport car rental business, earning nearly $11 billion in 2014. They have 41,000 employees in over 11,000 corporate, licensee, and franchisee locations worldwide. Rarefied air for a company that had humble beginnings in 1918, when Walter Jacobs came up with the idea to rent 12 of Henry Ford's Model Ts to Chicago consumers. Jacobs earned the title of America's rent-a-car pioneer. In 1923, John D. Hertz bought Rent-A-Car, adding it to his yellow cab company in New York. He established the first coast-to-coast car rental network, and in 1926, he was the first to provide rental cars in train stations and later to airports. In the 1950s, Hertz had more than 1,000 rental locations and opened its first international location at Orly Airport in Paris. The 1970s brought another first among any business, a customer loyalty program called the Hertz No. 1 Club, providing premium service for loyal customers.
It was the first of its kind in the car rental industry, which enabled customers to skip the counter and go straight to their cars and find their name and lights over their car, and they could just get in and drive away with this contract right there in the car.
The ownership of the rental company changed hands many times, from Ford and GM to RCA, and at one time even United Airlines. Hertz was traded on the stock market from 1954 until the late 80s, when Ford took it private. In 2006, it went public again as Hertz Global Holdings.
You can point to different milestones, all industry first by Hertz. And we're proud of that tradition of innovation. We're proud of our tradition of strong service to customers at all levels of in the rental business, and that's something that we plan to continue and continually improve as we move forward.
In 2007, Mark Frisora was appointed CEO. After establishing major green initiatives, he began a quest to expand the scope in the car rental market. In 2009, Hertz bought Advantage Rent-A-Car. Requiring Hertz sell Advantage as part of a deal to offset antitrust concerns, the Federal Trade Commission approved the merger of Dollar Thrifty in 2012 and ultimately started the company down the road to paradise.
Welcome to Deal of the Day. Start your engines. Today's deal was 2 years in the making. Hertz Global Holdings and Dollar Thrifty Automotive have speeded head-on into a merger agreement, finally, in which Hertz will acquire Dollar Thrifty for $2.3 billion in cash.
All of our major car rental competitors in the United States had acquired another brand. So Avis and Enterprise were running their airport business on a multi-brand basis. And we felt that to be competitive over the long term, we needed at least one more brand to compete in what I'll call the middle rental market on airport. And the last available franchise was Dollar Thrifty, which we were finally successful in purchasing in November of 2012, which is really the triggering event that led to our relocation to Southwest Florida.
We also added, interestingly, Firefly, which is our value brand. So now we have 4 brands, and we're from the lower end of the market, the Dollar Thrifty in the middle, each with their own kind of brand identity, and then Hertz we consider at the top.
We made a decision that we wanted to combine the headquarter functions of Hertz and Dollar Thrifty, that we didn't want to have the headquarters be separate, one in New Jersey, one in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's really tough to have 2 companies and ingrain their cultures unless you try to start a bit from scratch.
It really wasn't going to work for a combined Dollar Thrifty and Hertz because it was simply too expensive for our Dollar Thrifty colleagues to relocate to northern New Jersey. And vice versa, our employees in northern New Jersey weren't going to be willing to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So we started looking at other environments. And in other environments, we looked at Oklahoma, we looked at Florida, we looked at Texas. And most of the states that we looked at were business-friendly climates, which means that there's incentives available to help us finance the move.
In his book, How Money Walks, author Travis Brown has looked at IRS data over the last 19 years and found that people and companies are moving across the country and taking their money with them.
We're looking at a move of 50 million Americans, over $2 trillion of income over the last 19 years. And generally what it shows us is that taxpayers are fleeing high-tax states and flocking to low-tax states. There are 9 states in America, like Florida, that put no state price on work. There's no state income tax. And there are the top 9 states with the highest price on work, states like New York, Illinois, and California, that are losing over $130 billion. So the wins are large and the losses are gigantic to our national economy based on where you reside. But Southwest Florida, in our analysis, comes out ahead of the game.
You don't see corporate headquarters move every day, but when companies have that luxury and the obligation, they've got the duty to seek out the best location to provide the best rate of return for their investment. That means looking at overall cost structure, corporate income tax, and the best business climate.
We were looking at where do we fit best into a climate that's going to support our business, recognizing Hertz is both a commercial renter for corporations as well as a very large leisure rental for vacationers, and Dollar Thrifty business is primarily leisure rentals or vacation rentals. And actually the largest vacation market in the United States is Florida.
What makes Florida another attractive destination is this fact that it leads the country in tourism. So it looks like in 2014 that there will be 100 million tourists visiting Florida in this year. That means that nearly 1 in 3 Americans are going to spend an average of 4.4 days and spending a significant amount of time and probably renting a car and having a little bit of fun and testing out new products.
Florida is such a tourism hub, as well as the fact that there's about 1 million tourism-related jobs in the state, made it very attractive for us to be close to our customers and also close to a very large talent pool that we could draw on for our headquarter operations. And we pretty quickly decided that Florida would be the right state to move to because of the favorable economic climate and because the state of Florida indicated that they were willing to provide some solid financial assistance. At that point, the question was where in Florida?
So we looked at Miami, Orlando, Tampa, all the way up to Jacksonville. We looked at competing for labor. So the other thing is, how do you capture the labor market? You know, these are all things to consider when you're looking at locations.
It is no coincidence that Florida had a favorable economic climate. Enterprise Florida was a public-private entity created in 1996, working on reducing corporate tax rates, increasing capital investments, and working to compete with other states to bring more business to Florida.
It's a great case study if you look at public policy and what a reduction of tax, what less regulation, what that does from a capital investment. And so it's basically, how do you want to build your economy? I like the direction we're going with that. That if we tax it less, encourage investment, I think you'll find more investment, you'll find more in jobs.
Yeah, there are other significant evolutions to other large corporations taking a stronger look at Florida. Not every day do you have Amazon picking fulfillment centers, but they're making big investments in Florida. Microsoft on the West Coast, leading technology company, of course, has chosen Miami as an innovation center.
As much as the taxes are favorable, it's also a sort of an attitude or a pro-business attitude and environment where there's a desire to work with business, not against it.
One of the keys to success on projects like this is the state can do everything they can to set the environment, to set the business environment. But at the end of the day, what makes these projects happen is having that relationship with our local economic development partner.
Well, what's very important to our region is that we work together collectively to promote the economic development potential of all the 5 counties that make up Southwest Florida. And working very closely together, we are able to bring in businesses that have the potential for success and a quality of life that they wouldn't have elsewhere.
For a few reasons, Lee County became the area of choice. One, because of the favorable package, the incentive package.
Lee County commissioners, in an effort to develop that incentive package, turned to Dr. Gary Jackson, an economics professor at Florida Gulf Coast University, to create a study to determine the economic impact of a major company expanding or relocating to Southwest Florida.
So what we're looking at is if they're going to construct a building per se, what does that mean in terms of construction jobs, in terms of income for labor and so forth? If they are going to be hiring or relocating employees to the area, what does that mean in terms of potential direct impacts, which we gather, but beyond that is what does it mean in terms of additional business to our existing businesses, and what does it mean in terms of expenditures by the additional employees that will be in the area? And so that has what we call an overall multiplier effect on the initial effects that are created by the company either expanding or locating to the area.
Last week, Lee County commissioners approved $4 million taxpayer dollars to bring the company to Lee County, and that move is expected to bring about 700 jobs to the area.
Incentives include $4.6 million in local money approved by Lee County commissioners and $14.4 million from the state of Florida.
Well, you know, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be any such thing as incentives, that we would just win outright based on everything that we have to offer, but it's not.
To be competitive on this market, you have to do some type of incentives, and we're not really giving them anything. What we're going to get in return before they create the first job here in Lee County, they're going to spend about $68 million in construction. They're going to be paying taxes on that. They're going to be paying utilities on that. So at the end of the day, we'll be getting much more rewards than what we first initially gave them.
I mean, we would not have made this move if it wasn't for the state of Florida, the economic development that they offered us. Couldn't afford it.
Like business neighbors Arthrex and Chico's, another incentive for Hertz to choose Southwest Florida, they could draw upon a workforce that is diverse, skilled, and eager for corporate job security and benefits.
When we look at Southwest Florida, we look at Florida as a whole, that's one of our greatest advantages, is the diversity of our workforce, from skills, from cultures, from languages, that we can put a whole package together that's a solution to the corporate headquarters.
What we didn't anticipate was how easy it would be to convince folks from other parts of the country to move down here at different stages in their career, whether they were just starting out or in some cases in executive positions.
Every business needs a blend of new, younger talent and then some experienced veterans. We're getting that. We're getting Hertz employees, top 50 employees that are transferring to here, so that brings some of the experience, and then we're hiring a lot locally here too, so best of both worlds.
Where were they going to put these 700 employees? The next mile marker on the road to paradise was finding the right piece of ground to construct their new home. They searched Naples, Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, and Estero, looking for something with specific criteria.
The criteria was we wanted to be on a main road, right? We wanted visibility. We wanted something that we could develop relatively quick. We wanted something that was not way far north of North Fort Myers. We didn't want something way far south in South Naples because it's that demographic of employees.
There was a piece of property in Estero that was tailor fit to our needs that we could basically, as they would say, was shovel ready for us to start building pretty quickly.
The most important thing to Hertz was that property that they chose, that they currently have now, was ready to go. It was already zoned. The process was really short. And that's the most important thing in business is time.
So it's planning, it's zoning, it's permitting, and all that takes time. And the time that it takes is costing us money to be in temporary facilities. We've got 2 down here now, one in Naples and one in the building we're in here in Bonita. We will have, by the time we're done our building, we'll have probably 650 to 700 people in these buildings. And so we're paying for that. In the meantime, we're waiting for other building to be built. So all that costs us money. If you have good relationships with the community that you're doing it with, they're going to work with you. And I have to admit, you know, in all the years I've done any kind of work in this area, Lee County's probably been the best. I'm amazed at how fast they've been able to move to accommodate us. If you did this in some other communities, you know, you could be years going through either zoning or development, and I think other corporations have probably experienced that as well.
The November 2013 groundbreaking on the 34 acres at the corner of US 41 and Williams Road marked an exciting and historic beginning of how the company will function in Southwest Florida.
We think that the building is a foundation for the corporation to establish the culture of the people and how they interact. So it's a very open plan. There's not a lot of offices. It's a collaborative type of workforce with multiple collaboration areas.
We'll also be building in a lot of sustainable elements into the building, trying for a high level of LEED certification.
Known for protecting its wetlands and coastline, Southwest Florida boasts a nonpartisan tradition of environmental stewardship. Beautiful beaches and vibrant arts and varied attractions bring more than $4 billion annually in tourist dollars to this region and provides an exceptional quality of life for more than 1 million residents.
The natural environment in Southwest Florida is the basis of our economy. It's the sustainable resources which give us our most important economic engine, which is tourism. And the people who come here to live, either in retirement or to relocate their world headquarters, are here because the quality of life and the standard of living that comes with the Southwest Florida ecosystem.
We don't ask, we require that when people build here that they keep a strong eye towards the environmental side of it. And if you look at large projects, we mitigate property to make sure that it isn't just strictly all buildings, that there is some preservation there.
Well, basically, Hertz is going into what's known as a development of regional impact that we had already reviewed. So when we set up with the people who were doing the land development there, they established preserves, and as part of it, they preserved the Halfway Creek watershed. They set up wetland areas, and so Hertz was plugged right into a spot that had already been designated as suitable for the type of development they're doing.
When we initially looked at the design, it was a sea of parking. In order to accommodate 1,000 parking spaces, it was just all asphalt. And as we developed the design in relationship with the community, we changed our design quite a bit. And that was the origin of the structured parking. It opens up the amount of green space you have that allows the water to permeate through the soil and then back into the aquifer. So that was by design. So it was intentionally with consideration of the environment.
Well, leaving some green, the right kind of green, where it's incorporated into your stormwater treatment system does help a lot. And having a large impervious surface will basically lead to further pollution of the tributary streams which go into the Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve. So yes, that's a very important thing.
The 300,000 square foot building is scheduled for completion in November of 2015. The potential economic impact on the Southwest Florida community is expected to be significant.
Having a company like Hertz come to this area, I think, means a lot more to us than even we realize. And we're finding out even today the economic impact that they've made.
So first of all, you've got $68 million that's going in the ground in the headquarters. That has a ripple impact. When you put $68 million in the community, there's a ripple impact on construction jobs, the things that go with that.
Hertz gave to the economic development folks an estimate of the number of jobs, which was 700, but also the average wage, which was $92,000. So there's the direct employment at Hertz, in this case 700 jobs by 2017. But also beyond that is how many additional jobs are created, because the money that is spent in the region is going to create additional demand for goods and services. Other employers are going to hire. We actually end up with an estimate of 1,800 additional jobs in the area.
Long term, 700 people, 100,000 a year average. So what's the 70 million a year in payroll? 70 million in payroll. You take it out over 10 years and $700 million of payroll. We're going to go back years from now. You can ask real estate, you can ask car dealers, you can ask restaurants. You go ask anybody, did it have an impact? They'll be able to tell you yes. When you have 70 million of disposable income being put into the community each year, that has more of a return on investment than we can even imagine.
Most of the economists would look at value added. What is the additional income created from this particular relocation in this case? And we came up with about $200 million per year, which is fairly significant for our area.
Being a good neighbor means more than just adding dollars to the economy. Hertz has the opportunity to add to environmental stewardship as well.
Well, as a good corporate citizen, companies like Hertz can participate in their community and support things like the large-scale land acquisitions, which communities like Bonita Springs are supporting. They could also basically support the general idea that a balanced economy has a balanced ecosystem. So it shouldn't all be maximally developed if we have about a third preservation, a third in agriculture, and a third in the type of development that Hertz is.
We are still analyzing how we can best be a positive partner for the community, apart from just providing jobs and helping the economy. We clearly want to have a strong relationship with post-secondary education here in Southwest Florida, primarily because we're planning on drawing on their talent, their graduates, for our workforce. We've already hired several MBA grads from both Hodges and FGCU, and we will be looking to establish more formal relationships going forward.
And so part of our challenge will be to work with them in terms of training programs and internships from colleges and universities, and hopefully, that goes both ways in terms of business working with the educational and governmental organizations. And so again, a good community spirit there in terms of cooperation between all the different parties.
In what ways does Hertz intend to impact the region?
As we look forward 2 or 3 years and we get ourselves firmly established in the community will see us as a leader on a few important issue areas. And I'm sure one of those areas will be regional economic development, because we can use our experience relocating here as an educational tool for the rest of the community on what went really well, what could be done better.
If any corporate CEOs out there thinking, oh, I wonder where we should go next. If I had a blank sheet of paper to choose the best destination, where might I consider going? They're going to look strongly at the example that Hertz has just set with this corporate relocation.
I've actually personally advised 3 companies confidentially around what happened with us and what could they learn from that. But when we announced we're coming to Florida, I think it got Florida a lot of attention. It did get some headlines. And so as a result of that, other companies, I think, are looking at Florida a little bit more seriously than they ever have before.
When you have a Fortune 300 company that has brand recognition, there's a lot more value to that than just the jobs, the capital investment, and the return on that investment.
It's the start of a wonderful relationship, and it's the first step towards what I see as the future of the Southwest Florida region. We are perfectly situated for the headquarters of any company that is striving for success, as well as looking for a high quality of life for its executives and its employees. You know, there are many communities that offer one or the other, but there are very few communities that offer both.
Locally, I think this is the start of some many good things that are going to happen in Southwest Florida. It's a great story to tell. I think it's just time to tell the story.
The road to paradise did hit some unexpected bumps along the way, with the turnover of both the CEO and the CFO. But Hertz remains committed to having its new headquarters in a location that is synonymous with its brand.
Just let Hertz put you in the driver's seat today.
Mr. Frisora stepped down in September of 2014, and at that point, the company has 450 employees and their families who are living here doing headquarters work. And at the same time, up in Estero, we have a building that's going up. And so we're committed to the region, and we're committed to being headquartered here.
Southwest Florida is our home, so I think that the community will benefit from that as well.
It's been a great experience for me. I moved here and moved down here blindly, as like many of my fellow people, and I'm not leaving.